Hello everyone, Mr. Lindsay with another drawing lesson. This lesson is about drawing from observation, so looking at things in real life and trying to draw them. So instead of just making something up, you actually want to look at the item and try to draw it, whatever object it is. So instead of me just drawing a random flower, I would look at a flower and try to draw it. Or instead of looking at a random piece of fruit like an apple or something, okay, instead of just randomly drawing it, I would just look at the real object and see what it looks like and draw the lines and shapes that are right there in front of me. So that takes some practice. A lot of people draw things from their imagination, which is good to be creative and imagine things and draw them. But with this, we're actually going to focus more on looking at the object. So I'm going to say that maybe for this week and next week, let's try doing a few drawings just for practice, and then you can turn in whichever one you think is the best. But I would maybe try more than one because sometimes these are a little quick. Sometimes they could take a while, depends on what you choose, how detailed it is. I know everyone's different and everyone will be at different levels, so maybe choose objects based on your level. It could be anything from a coffee cup or a bowl with pencils in it, or it could be a container of some kind. I have a box of crayons here. Maybe I could try drawing that. I have a tape dispenser sitting right in front of me. I mean, that's something I could look at and draw. My coffee mug or my coffee cup. Okay, these are all things that I could look at. You can arrange it. You can get fancy if you want. A vase of flowers. Okay, maybe that's something you look at and draw. Could just be an object sitting nearby. Okay, my expo marker. I could look at that and I could try to draw that. Okay, there's different ways I can draw it, but I could look at it and see how I do drawing something like that. You could draw your favorite stuffed animal, your favorite toy. I could look at my phone. Maybe I try to look at a phone or a device and try to see how that looks when I draw it. So basically that's what drawing from observation is. Looking at them, looking at the real object and actually trying to draw what you see and focusing on the lines and shapes and details that are there. So when I do this, I really do focus on lines and shapes. Okay, lines and shapes first. If it's a three-dimensional object, I will try to make it look 3D when I draw it. If it's something that's a little more flat, then maybe it doesn't look as 3D on the paper, but most objects in real life are going to look a little more 3D because they are real objects. So we want to try our best to draw them. So maybe I'm going to look at this box of tissue first. Okay, this is what it looks like. From my angle, when I draw it, it's probably going to look, I don't know, something like that. Okay, when it's sitting on the table. So I'm going to set it on the table. Look at that box of tissue and draw it. My paper actually probably would work better this way. And then I just focus on what I'm seeing. Now that is a three-dimensional object. So this is what it looks like from my viewpoint. Okay, I can see a line here for this edge. I can see a line going from here. Now it's going this way. I see another line going this way, and then this line goes back up. Okay, now I can see the front of it. This is kind of the end of the box. I can see a line going this way and this way. Now, if you've drawn three-dimensional objects, this can be a little easier, but I'm just drawing what I see. I'm drawing it just how I see it. Now, I also see this line going over here. And then I see a line on the back, but it kind of stops because the tissue goes through it. So I'm going to stop that line right about there on mine because the way I see it, I can see the piece of tissue kind of going in front of that. So now I also see the hole in the box where the tissue comes out. Right about here, and right about here, and right about here. Okay. And I can see a little bit of this line on the back. Like I said, I'm just looking closely to see what's in front of me. Now there's a little tab here on mine. You can get as detailed as you want. Then there's a piece of tissue sticking out of the box. And that piece of tissue kind of goes like this and then out. It has a little ripple here. Kind of comes out and around. Oh, there's a little another piece that comes out here. comes in and then it kind of curves in and around and back to here. Okay, and then there's another piece here where it kind of wraps around. That's like where it twists around. Okay, and then I also see another little line or wrinkle in the tissue going this way, and there's a few other little lines and wrinkles. Looks something like that. There's my box of tissue with a little piece of tissue sticking out of the top. So there you go. I can add more details. There's another line here. There's another line here. It even has words on it for the brand name. I can add all those details, but that's the main idea, something like that. So there's an example. I know everyone's at a different level. This might be too hard for you. Find something around the house that's easier. Maybe something that you really enjoy drawing, something you like. Maybe you like Legos. Cool. Set a couple Legos down and draw them. They're kind of like 3D blocks like this. So look at the object. Another thing I try, here's a jar that I have a couple brushes in it and a pencil. Okay, maybe I look at that jar and it might look something like that from my angle and try to draw it. So I'm going to set it here. My paper needs to go this way. And then this is what I see. I see a top to the jar, kind of like this. Sort of like an oval shape, so I'm looking for shapes. I see these sides, and then there's also some lines in here. Okay, I see the side of the jar kind of curving out like this on each side. Okay, then it curves in a little bit. Okay, on mine there's another line that goes right across here, kind of through the middle of it. And then this goes in a little and then down, in a little and down. Okay, the jar is, probably about that tall. Then at the bottom, it kind of goes out a little bit again. There's another one of these curved lines here. Then I can see the bottom of it. And the bottom of it kind of curves across. There's something like the jar shape I'm looking at. Now I can also see the inside because it's glass, so this is kind of cool. I can actually see the bottom of it right here. On the inside I can see the bottom of my jar because it's made of glass. I can actually see that inside. I can see this line here actually wrap around to the other side because it's glass, so I can see through it. Okay, and then I have a paintbrush inside. My brush barely sticks out of the top, so it's like maybe right here is the top of the brush. Goes like that, and the handle goes all the way down to about here and back up. And then I have the brush end sticking out of the top of my brush. Kind of looks like that. So there's a paintbrush in there. I also have a pencil in this jar, so maybe I'll add the pencil. It's leaning against the brush. Here's like the top of the pencil with the eraser. Okay, and then the pencil has a few details in it right here, and it goes all the way down, gets to about here, and then I can see the tip of the pencil. There you go. There's my jar with a pencil and a brush in it. So that's the main idea. You can always go back and add some details if I really want to get into this. If that handle was colorful, I could add a little color to this, like maybe my pencil's colored in a little bit, the brush is. Okay, I could even do some shading on the sides. I like to shade. There's some shading on the edge of the jar. Can add a little shading. Okay, if you're drawing an object that's more colorful, like I said, you can always go back and add the color. I'm just going to do a little shading with my pencil. My paintbrush and my pencil actually are black, so I don't really need a lot of color for this. The handle on the brush is black, and this part's kind of gray. And the pencil's the same, so I didn't have anything too colorful in there, so I could just use my pencil. I don't even need colors for this. Okay, and I can make this here, maybe a little pink for the eraser actually. That's the only colorful part about this. Okay, and then this pencil was black too. So that's simple enough with this one. Now if you're doing something more colorful, maybe you add some color to it when you're done sketching it. Like maybe I do this box of crayons. It's kind of like that box of tissue, except for there's some color to it. So I could look at this from whatever viewpoint I have. I could sketch it out the best I can to look like a box. I could add my details. Anything you want. Like I said, it could be as simple as maybe looking at that marker, or maybe I lay a couple markers down on the table. Here's a pair of scissors. Okay, I could draw those. I could try drawing a pair of scissors. I could put them in something, like in the jar with the other stuff. So maybe the scissors were in that jar. But think about it and try to do a few practice drawings. Whether it's, like I said, fruits or vegetables, a bowl or a plate, could be a jar or a container with things in it like this. Okay, box of crayons, there's all sorts of things. You could look at toys at home, stuffed animals, anything you want. But drawing from observation means you're really looking close at those details and just trying to make it look like the object in real life. That's a really good way to practice. I know in the beginning it's not super easy. Some people struggle with that and it's hard for them, so maybe choose easier objects. But I would say for the next 2 weeks, since this is going to take a couple weeks, maybe do a few drawings. Don't just do one. I mean, they're pretty quick. I did those in a few minutes. Maybe you could do like 3 or 4 different drawings, and then whatever one you think is the best, you can take a picture of and turn that into me. Or if you do multiple drawings, you can turn in more than one. But have fun with it. Think of some fun things around the house you might want to try to draw, and then let's see how you can do with drawing an observational drawing.